Welcome back to our coverage of the F2 season. We're expecting a hugely competitive race today. This really could be anyone's. The Miami International Autodrome is a 3.36-mile circuit that circumnavigates the Hard Rock Stadium. The track was designed with 19 corners and long straightaways to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Here are the starting positions for today's race. A fantastic effort from Jan Daruvali yesterday puts him on pole position. And it's Daniel Ticktum in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Lundgaard, Nissani, Marcus Armstrong and Pourchaire, Joe, Piastri, Fittipaldi, Guilherme Samaya, Schwartzman, Drugovic, Ralph Boschung and Aitken, Deleda, Viscal, Beckman and Richard Verschoor, Lawson, Zendelli, Sato and Yuri Vips starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's get down to the track. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao Alex, it's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remaining calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerves.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. lap of the race. Great drive, we did it! Good job, we did it!
Well, that may not have been the finest race in history, but there's no question that was a critical win. And Davide Valsecchi, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
This is why I love this sport. Their car dominated the track today. You could tell they went in full of confidence, with a clear strategy in place. They displayed excellent knowledge of the track and made it count when it comes to some of those more tricky corners, allowing them to make huge gains on some of the less confident drivers. I guarantee the fans will certainly be talking about today for a long time to come.
And now it's time to wind down and celebrate after that fantastic race. Here they come, your top three, out onto the podium. And now, Davide Valsecchi, let me ask you, who is your driver of the day?
I'm going to say Jake Aitken. It was probably one of his best drivers of the season, and I was impressed.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care. It's that time again. Race day has arrived here at the Circuit of the Americas, located in Austin, Texas. A track that isn't short of opportunities to overtake. We're certainly in for an exciting race out on track today. The Circuit of the Americas is a 3.4-mile track made up of 20 turns, turn 1 being the biggest standout, boasting a very steep uphill run going into a tight hairpin corner. The circuit features plenty of long, tight corners along straights with 2 DRS zones to incentivise overtaking throughout. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Daniel Ticktum lines up on pole position, with Christian Lundgaard alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Deruvula, Pourchaire, Robert Schwartzman and Joe, Armstrong, Drugovic, Nissani, Enzo Fittipaldi, Deleda, Zendelli, Oscar Piastri and Beckman, Samaya, Lawson, Aitken and Marino Sato. For sure, Boschong, Viscal and Yuri Vips starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. As we await the start of another hugely anticipated Formula 2 race, I'm joined again by Davide Valsecchi. Davide, as a former GP2 champion, can we get some insight to what is running through these young drivers' heads as they sit out on the grid?
Ciao, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here. There are nervy moments, there is no doubts about that. Mental strength is the key to remaining calm and focusing on the upcoming race. Formula 2 is so competitive, and all of these drivers knows that they are going to be pushing each other all of the way. In this sport, you have to be able to control your nerves.
Okay, mate, that was an illegal manoeuvre. You've got to cede that position or we'll receive a penalty. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Oh, you worked hard for that one. Congratulations, well done.
So after a day of mixed fortunes up and down the field, we bring today's race to a close. So, Davide, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, I'm not sure what we just saw, but one thing's for sure. Today's winner has certainly showed they have no fear battling it out on the track. And who can blame them? I don't think I've ever seen someone through the competition so quickly. Today's race was a sight to behold, and judging from the crowd's reaction, it went down well with the fans as well.
This is it. This is where they all want to be. Here come the top three then, out onto the podium after a fascinating race. Now then, Davide Valsecchi, who would you say was your driver of the day?
Probably Jade Aitken, you know, strong pace, good work with the strategy, just a very complete drive, I think.
After all this drama, you would be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.